versus the size of the people, huge difference. I'll give you one example of another Asian country which has done tremendously well purely because of the intellect of its people. Japan. All of you know the story of Japan, at least most of you I would imagine would know the story of Japan. It's a country with about 12.57 crore people, not even 1/10 of India. And it's a country whose geography, in fact, is so complicated that 75% of the country is uninhabitable. 75% of the country is mountainous. The topography is such that it's a very, very densely populated country across the coastal areas. And China, unfortunately, Japan is one of those countries which is surrounded by oceans. So it's had frequent tsunamis, cyclones, typhoons, earthquakes, very little natural resources, very little cultivable area. Only 11% of the land is cultivable, and very little area where humans can actually inhabit. And on top of all this, if you remember, in World War II, Japan is the only country on the planet which had been bombed. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I'm sure all of you have heard. It's the only country which was ever under nuclear attack in 1940s. Now what happened then? Today Japan is the third largest economy in the world. In fact, till until 2010, it was the second largest economy in the world. That's when China actually surpassed it. So what's happening in the world, if you think about it for a minute? India, with 140 crore people, with 40 crores of cultivable area, abundant natural resources, amazing talent, and most importantly, with a median age of 28, and with 65% of India being less than the age of 35, only has a 3.4 trillion economy. But Japan, with 12.57 crore people, with a median age of 49, has a 4.3 trillion economy with a per capita of $39,000. So what is happening in these two countries, if you think for a minute? The one thing I can tell you that Japan has done successfully, has invested in the sectors that matter, has invested in its people, has ensured that the focus of the government, the collective goal, the collective national ambition, the collective national aspiration as a nation was very well defined, was extremely well etched in the minds of every Japanese, and they went about it with a single-minded pursuit. In India, unfortunately, while we do have leaders, while we do have many smart leaders, unfortunately our focus is always on politics. We're not focused on economics. Our focus is on winning the next election. Our focus is not in ensuring that the next generation has a better life than ours. That's the unfortunate challenge in India. We're in perennial election mode, including me. I'm not trying to say that we are any different. That's the unfortunate reality of being the world's largest democracy, with elections happening throughout the year, and with every single politician, instead of being focused on economics, is always seized with more and more politics every single day. That's the problem with India right now. So what is it that I'm proposing? The question that I think we all need to ask ourselves is, should a country's wealth be measured by numbers, by the 5 trillion numbers, by the 10 trillion or the 16 trillion numbers, or should it look at the most valuable asset that it possesses? In India's case, I think it's the think force that we have. India's think force, like I said, which is 65% with a median age of 35, 50% with a median age of 28. I think that's the biggest asset that India has. Unfortunately, not many countries have that. Like I said, Japan's median age is 49, China's median age is 39. I can go on. We're the youngest nation on the planet. But are we putting our human resources? Are we putting this human capital to good use? No. We have sociologically, psychologically as a nation. I was at a couple of schools yesterday and day before, meeting and interacting with young minds, youngsters. I kept asking them. I kept probing. I said, are you happy with the infrastructure? They said, okay, we are reasonably happy. I said, do you want anything more? They said, we are fine. And I kept asking and I kept probing. I asked them one question. I said, what do you want to be once you graduate, once you become a graduate or a postgraduate? About 99% of them said, I want to actually be employed. I want to be seeking a job. When I ask them, why do you want to be a job seeker? Why can't you be a job creator? Not many of them actually had a straight answer. As a society, as a nation, I think collectively, we have ensured that this amazing, abundant talent, abundant human capital that we have converted it into a huge, huge pile of worker bees, and not as somebody who thinks of creating wealth, of somebody who can create jobs, of somebody who can create free market enterprises which will thrive and compete with the best in the world. Unfortunately, in the last 75 years of independence, name one single brand from India that has come out which is truly having a global appeal. A real original Indian brand that truly has a brand appeal across the world. If you ask me, look around. You will be holding an Apple phone. You will be holding a Sony phone or a Samsung phone or one of those amazing brands. You must have come in a Toyota or a Honda or even a Suzuki. I don't know.